All right, so we do know that the Naira is depreciating, not significantly, but it is depreciating. It is feeling pressure. There is quite a bit of dollar demand.
Yes, we've been seeing that. I mean, a bit at the interbank, at the CBN window, it's been a bit of on a stable level. We would say that the rates movement at the CBN level hasn't been so significant. The pressure seems to be there, gradually creeping up. Not really so much of that will cause a worry. But when we look at the interbank levels and compare with the CBN levels, we think that the margin that we currently experience poses a bit of threat per se, and tend to give the re-gauge of the pressure at the window or the demand levels that we're seeing. Naira hitting almost 162 to the dollar, and at CBN window you see it capped at about 158, 159 levels. That's giving a 2 Naira premium. It tells you that really a couple of the policies that we've seen from the CBN a couple of months ago about the type of transactions that can or cannot function, that can or cannot be presented at the central bank window, finding a way into the interbank market will continue to build those pressure that we're currently experiencing.
This price pressure and the discrepancies that we're seeing on the interbank window, on the official window, and the parallel market, how would you explain it?
Well, like I said, I mean, if you look at the official, this interbank window and the parallel market, we do not think that you have so much of a difference in price. The main, one of the major place we see the play in price comes from the CBN, the official CBN window and the interbank window, which albeit is hovering close to 3 Naira currently. I think, like I said, I think you find a lot of demand. Instead of being sorted out at the CBN window, they're coming into the interbank window. CBN albeit had placed a restriction on certain types of transactions that can go to their window. You find those demand coming in again at the interbank window. And the sort of liquidity that typically the traders tend to experience from the oil company says, we are not seeing that currently. And as such, you tend to see the rate gradually creep up. I mean, it's interesting to note that I think for the past 3 trading sessions, the volatility in the interbank market really hasn't been so much, creeping from 161.40 to 161.70 today. I don't think it's been so much of a volatility. I think maybe it might get to a point that we might be experiencing some kind of exhaustion in the Naira weakness, and it might put a tipping point for a rebound in Naira strength. But I think the catalyst that would make that happen is yet to be seen.
I mean, let me simplify this, Nwabueze. When the CBN finally decided to change the threshold for the Naira to 155, some people said good move, but wrong number. That actually the new stability level of the Naira is 160. That's what people believe is a fair value for the Naira. So that's the discrepancy that I'm referring to. That's number one. Secondly, although we're seeing a high dollar demand, there is a sense that in the real economy, there isn't a lot of dollar demand. And that's another discrepancy.
Well, we will tend to look at what the measure of our dollar demands are. We tend to look at, if you see the demand at the CBN window, that is one measure of the dollar demand. We tend to look at the demand at the interbank window. Though at the interbank window, there might be a bit of slack when you think about, okay, what actually is the demand and what actually is speculative positioning. In my sense, I really do not think that you have so much of speculative positioning in the interbank window. I think you actually have a bit of real demand coming into the interbank window, and that's where you see the price at that action. Then on the CBN window, I think you still have the real demand at the window. Overall, my gauge on in terms of real demand and speculative positioning, I would put it at real demand at maybe 80%, speculative at 20%, and that carries it out. Then secondly, if you look at the on the band that we talk about, I mean 160, 155. I wouldn't say where it should be, because I can tell you something. My initial take on this band was that the market was going to test the upper limits of this band, and I think the market has done that. To see how CBN will react.
We have to leave it there, Nwabueze. Unfortunately. Thanks for your time, though.